My friend is a devout bachelor. He has neither the means to marry nor the audacity for forbidden pleasures, nor even the experience of self-release. Neither sports, nor fasting, nor lowering his gaze have cured him or saved him from the torment of the alluring curves surrounding him. He is shy, well-mannered, and intelligent, yet nature lashes him with a whip like a slave from 1001 Nights. Steadfast in spirit, righteous in conduct and kindness, my friend remains above all a human, fragile as any man, and so, while he awaits his promised paradise, with its 70 heavenly maidens and untouched bosoms, he clings each night to his pillow, swaddling his longing in sheets, and embracing in dreams whichever beauty he desires from the women of the world. And as dawn breaks, he washes away the remnants of his satisfaction and prostrates himself before God, in gratitude, offering praise, pure and blessed. For, were it not for the grace of his imagination, he might have been something else entirely. Perhaps. The gnawing emptiness within my friend grew with each passing year. His faith, once a comforting blanket, now felt like a suffocating shroud. The promised paradise, with its celestial rewards, seemed increasingly distant, a mirage shimmering on the horizon of his desolate reality. He continued his prayers, his acts of charity, his quiet, unassuming life. But the joy had leached out of them. They felt hollow, mechanical. He was going through the motions, a puppet dancing on strings of habit, while his heart remained a barren wasteland. The dreams, once a nightly solace, now tormented him. They were no longer simple escapes, but vivid reminders of what he lacked, what he craved. He would wake in a cold sweat, the phantom touch of a lover still tingling on his skin, the echo of laughter ringing in his ears. The contrast between the dream's vibrant life and his own stark existence was a knife twisting in his gut. One sweltering afternoon, a new vendor set up shop in the bustling marketplace. He sold fabrics, vibrant silks, richly embroidered cottons and shimmering velvets. But it wasn't the fabrics themselves that caught my friend's eye. It was the vendor's daughter. She moved with a quiet grace as she helped her father, her dark eyes flashing, her laughter a melody that wove through the din of the market. She was unveiled, as was the custom in his city, but the simple act of her face being visible, the way the sunlight caught the delicate curve of her cheek, sparked something within him. He'd seen women before, of course, in the streets and in his dreams. But this was different. This was real. That night, my friend didn't dream of nameless beauties. He dreamt of her. He dreamt of her laughter, the way her hair cascaded down her back, the intensity in her gaze. He woke up with a feeling he hadn't experienced in years, hope. But it was a dangerous hope, a forbidden hope. The next day, he found himself drawn back to the marketplace. He lingered near the fabric stall, pretending to examine the wares, his heart pounding in his chest. He learned her name, Aisha. He learned she was recently widowed, her husband having perished in a work accident. He learned, from overheard conversations, that she was struggling to provide for her young children. The realization hit him like a physical blow. Here, in this dusty, bustling marketplace, was a chance to experience the very thing he had denied himself for so long, the thing that had haunted his dreams and fueled his despair. He could offer her support. He had some savings, carefully put aside. It would be a sin, he knew, a terrible sin. A widow, especially one with children, was to be respected, not pursued. But the alternative was a lifetime of longing, a slow, agonizing decay of his spirit. He could offer her help without any expectation of reciprocation, a charitable act that could mask his deeper desires. Or he could make his intentions clear, knowing full well that he risked social ostracization and possibly worse. He stood there amidst the vibrant colors and the clamor of the marketplace, the dust swirling around his feet, the calls of the vendors beckoning him closer. The decision loomed before him, a chasm separating his faith and his desires. On one side lay the promise of paradise, a distant, ethereal reward for a life of denial. On the other, the immediate, tangible possibility of human connection, of physical and emotional release, even if it was tinged with the weight of tradition and societal expectations. He had to choose. Aisha smiled at a customer, a smile that seemed to pierce through the haze of his indecision. Which path would he take? Then something unexpected happened. From the depths of his memory, a scene resurfaced, a scene from a novel he had devoured during his university years, The Thornbirds. He hadn't thought of the book in years, yet now the image of Father Ralph de Bricassart, torn between his love for Meggie and his devotion to the church, flashed vividly in his mind. He remembered the torment in Ralph's eyes, the years of longing, the ultimate sacrifice he made. And he remembered the consequences, the subtle but undeniable cost of his choices, not just for himself, but for Meggie and their son. The memory acted as a jolt, a sudden clarity amidst the fog of his desire. He saw himself, for a fleeting moment, reflected in the character of Father Ralph. He saw the potential for a similar path of longing, of internal conflict, of a life lived in the shadow of what could have been. He saw the pain it would cause, not just to himself, but potentially to Aisha and her children, should he pursue her. He wasn't a priest bound by vows, but he was bound by his faith, by the traditions of his community, and by his own sense of honor. The romanticized image of forbidden love, fueled by years of longing, shattered against the harsh reality of Father Ralph's experience. He wasn't a character in a novel, he was a man living in a real world with real consequences. He couldn't simply ignore the potential repercussions of his actions, the social stigma, the possible damage to Aisha's reputation, the burden he would place upon her. He couldn't, in good conscience, allow his own desires to cloud his judgment and potentially ruin her life. He took a deep breath, the dust of the marketplace stinging his nostrils. The desire was still there, a dull ache in his chest, but it was now tempered by a newfound resolve. He would not be like Father Ralph. He would not choose a path that led to years of longing and regret. He would not let his desires consume him. He turned away from the fabric stall, a quiet strength settling within him. He would find a way to help Aisha discreetly, without compromising her honor or his own. He would find solace in his faith, not as a means of denying his desires, but as a source of strength and guidance. He would continue to pray not for a distant paradise, but for the wisdom to make the right choices, for the strength to live a life of integrity, even in the face of temptation. The marketplace, with its vibrant colors and alluring possibilities, suddenly seemed less overwhelming. He walked away, not towards temptation, but towards a different kind of peace,